Something that is super important to me that I just don't feel like is talked about enough is mental health. And I don't know if we don't talk about mental health enough or a lot because it can trigger people. I don't know if we don't talk about mental health because it impacts people in a negative way. I don't know if people don't believe that it exists. I'm not sure what the reason is as to why we don't talk about it, but it is something that means a great deal to me, and it just made sense for me to make my first long form video about my own journey with mental health and my own I think my own feelings about how we should embrace it and we should talk about it more and we should give people more grace. I do just want to start off by saying nothing I'm saying is I hope nothing I say is going to be triggering. I hope nothing I say is going to be anything that you haven't heard before, but this is just my story and some ways that I have gotten through some really tough times. It's always interesting to me because I've always been one of those people that feels like I have a really good life. Most people looking in would be like, what is your issue? Why could you have an issue, or what's wrong with you? And for me, what I've learned about mental health is a lot of it just starts with you internally. It's not that your life is always terrible. It's not that anything specific. It's just sometimes different things impact you differently, and that's okay. And I think realizing what your triggers are and realizing the things that impact your life in a way that you might not like is important. And so that's something that I've also tried to do. I think one of the things that I've realized that really impacts me and puts me in a bad mental state is whenever I'm not taking care of myself. And so it's super easy in life just to go on through life, just doing status quo, getting up, going to work, checking on people, responding to people, getting dressed, going places, doing all those things. But I think sometimes if we don't take the time to actually stop and check in with ourselves, and make sure that we are just okay, it can impact the way that we go through life. And so for me, one of the things I try to make sure I always do is to check in with myself. And what does that look like? So every morning now, I'm on a fitness journey. Every morning when I wake up, I always ask myself, when are you going to work out today? And for me, that is not necessarily about the action of working out. For me, it's about checking in with myself. And I'm really asking, when are you going to make time for yourself today? When are you going to make yourself a priority today? I know you have a busy day. I know you can see your calendar, all the things, right? You already have messages that are stacked up that you already need to get to. But the question is, when are you going to check on yourself today? And so that is something I pride myself on doing, is asking myself that first thing in the morning. The second thing I think is really helpful for me, like checking in with myself and making sure that I am okay, is actually asking myself the question, am I okay? Am I okay? And if the answer is no, what can I do to fix that? Are there things that are happening that I can directly impact myself and make sure that I'm okay? I think if we normalize the checking in on yourself and kind of taking your own pulse and making sure that you're good, I think we could start to move in a better direction and start to positively impact ourselves. Now, I do want to say, I am not here to tell you that if you're having a big issue or something major is happening in your life, that these are the only things you need to do to like get through those things. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, for me, a lot of my mental health and taking care of my mental health really starts at the very beginning of the conversation I have with myself. And that is just checking in. And that is just making sure that I am okay. And if I am not okay, what are some things that I can do to make sure that I am okay? Historically, some things that I would do to make sure that I was okay, I would just eat whatever I wanted to, or I would just act like everything is fine and make myself super busy and just surround myself with people and pretend that I was okay. And so I had to learn that I had to check on myself. And when I learned to check on myself, my mental health began to get better. And so years ago, I went through, I went through something that was really hard and I was struggling. And the one thing I realized I didn't do was I didn't check in on myself. I felt like I should be acting a certain way and I should be a certain way just because I should be. Like, that's what I thought. But the reality is I forgot about me, and I forgot to make sure that I was okay, and I forgot to give myself grace, and I forgot to check in with myself. So if you take anything from this video, just remember to check in on yourself. Just remember to ask yourself, how am I doing? Not the fluffy, like, how am I doing? Oh, I'm good. Everything's fine, right? Actually checking in with yourself. How are you? How are you feeling? Do you feel better today than you did yesterday at this time? Is something bothering you? If something is bothering you, what is bothering you? What are you willing to do to fix it? And then figuring out things that help you move through those things. I don't want to say past them, because I think sometimes when we ignore things, we actually make them worse. But what are you doing to allow yourself to move through those things and to get better? Again, for me, every morning it's checking in with myself and asking myself, when am I going to make time for myself today? That has helped me tremendously. Obviously, like, working out just makes me feel better. I don't want to lie to you and say I'm one of those people that, like, I love getting up and working out. Like, that's what I live for. That's not me. However, what is me is making sure that I am okay and checking in on myself and making sure I feel good. Because when I feel good, I am at my best. And when I put myself first, I am at my best. And so this is just a heads up, or just a reminder to check in with yourself. Mental health is important. I don't care if people tell you that you aren't important, and I don't care if people tell you that your mental health aren't important. If you have people in your life that are telling you that, those people do not need to be in your life.